raising this very question in the parliament as well. Nishikant Dubey of the BJP questioning the Congress and asking them to admit that they indeed received funding from China into Rajiv Gandhi Trust. What was the need for it? What was the amount taken? And this was precisely around the time when Chinese was trying to infiltrate to the Indian borders. And at a time like that, the Congress was allegedly cozying up with the Chinese. I'm going to cut across to give you a quick breakdown to what exactly the New York Times investigation exposes. Starting with the orchestrated international propaganda toolkit by China, it clearly suggests that China was trying very hard across the globe to push their propaganda, positive propaganda for the country. And then we have the investigative report there suggesting that Indian website called Newsclick had links to the Chinese government, and they had put out a lot of articles that spoke well of China or highly of China while along the time they were trying to infiltrate into Indian borders. Now, number 3 is the Indian website that was funded for propaganda pieces. That's precisely what I mentioned, as China was using this website to push positive propaganda for their country. Now, US billionaire Singham's role in this funding propaganda, Indian-born US billionaire, we believe, has been the man behind funding this entire propaganda act. Now, propaganda was disguised as independent content, which is all the more something that has been closely looked into in detail in the New York Times report, that most of that content was made to look as if it was independent content that was being put out and that had no malice, but clearly it was propaganda. Amit Bharadwaj, who is still at the parliament, joins us live for more on that. Amit, now it seems like the whole narrative from Manipur has switched to Rahul, and also now that Rahul Gandhi has come back to the parliament, it appears the entire narrative has now switched towards Congress party receiving funding from Beijing. Tell us a little more. Has the Congress reacted at all? We know both houses will resume at 2 p.m.
Well, Nabila, what was expected today is that when Rahul Gandhi comes to the Parliament complex and when he is in Lok Sabha, the Congress would again up the ante as far as the Manipur issue is concerned, and maybe further its demand that the Prime Minister should come to the floor of the House and speak on this issue. It was again a shot in the arm for the opposition parties, for the India bloc parties, as well as the Congress party in particular. But what happened the moment when Rahul Gandhi stepped inside the house, inside the Parliament complex, at that point in time, you had Nishikant Dubey from the Bharatiya Janata Party rising in the House and raising this issue about the Chinese propaganda machinery, as to how this Mr. Singham, had funded the website Newsclick, which was pushing, as being reported in NYT, was pushing the Chinese propaganda in India. And there was an attempt made by BJP MP Nishikant Dubey to connect the dots between Newsclick, Mr. Singham, Congress Party, Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, to raise the question as to what is the MOU that was signed between the Congress Party and the China. But so far, we are yet to get that response from the Congress Party. Maybe they'll stick to the old narrative and stance that they had taken in the past. Back to you, Nabila.
Now, tell us a little more on the year when this controversy escalated. We know BJP raised this in 2020, but what was the year that and Rajiv Gandhi Trust was set up in the 90s? So, during which period is the investigation suggesting that there was money pumped into the Rajiv Gandhi Trust for Chinese propaganda in India? Are we looking at the last decade or before that? All right, stay with us. I'm going to cut across to Udit Raj, the Congress leader, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Udit Raj, give us your understanding on the New York Times investigative report that suggests that there was Chinese propaganda that was carried out, money was being pumped into India, and Rajiv Gandhi Trust was the one who received that money to sort of put out propaganda content while at a time when Chinese was trying to infiltrate into Indian borders. BJP raising this in the parliament, demanding answers.
See, what happened PM Care Fund also received the Chinese money. And not only that, Vinod Adani, brother of Adani, is a partner of Chinese person. What about that? And Prime Minister explained it that hasn't he received the fund in PM Care Fund from Chinese corporate houses? That is also to be discussed. Let us discuss all together. Why this only? Isolated, make it isolated case. Let all such matters to be discussed. Those who have been funded from China, Chinese sources. And what the Prime Minister said that time that we will boycott Chinese and ban this TikTok, etc. And afterwards, business transaction increased and many other relations have increased. And so far, the BJP has not in position to explain that how much money they have got from the Chinese companies.
No, but is it true that money was received by the Rajiv Gandhi Trust? Because the BJP claims an MOU was signed in 2008 and therefore there was a lot of money exchange that happened in the years subsequently. So are you admitting that this indeed happened?
Will you ask it from the BJP that how could they receive money in PM Care Fund? How can you define? See what happened when Congress received, supportive Congress received, I don't know still, but it's very obvious that the PM Care Fund has received the money from Chinese sources, Chinese companies. Explain that also. If that is wrong, then that is also wrong. Otherwise, it should not question, and I don't think they have a moral ground to raise the question in the parliament.
All right.
I don't have moral.
All right. Udit Raj, thank you very much for joining us. But clearly here, the Congress has taken serious objection to what was said by Nishikant Dubey of the BJP. Leader of Congress in Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, has now shot a letter to Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla regarding the BJP MP Nishikant Dubey's comments that he made in the Lok Sabha today, precisely on the Congress allegedly receiving funding from China. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary in that letter has written, and I quote, "We demand under Rule 380 that his remarks be expunged in full and that an inquiry be conducted into how such allegations was permitted to be made and was raised on record."